जनवरी 2024 ये कैलेंडर पर लिखी एक तारीख नहीं, ये एक नए काल चक्र का उद्गम है। सदियों का अभूतपूर्व धैर्य, अनगिनत बलिदान, त्याग और तपस्या के बाद हमारे प्रभु राम आ गए।
भारतवासियों का यह स्वागत है राम की जन्मभूमि में। जय जय श्री राम, जय जय श्री राम।
They have been waiting for this day for years. The opening of the Ayodhya temple. Millions of pilgrims have come from all over the country to celebrate their god, the god Ram. He is a warrior, a king, a strong and perfect man, a mythological figure.
कान गले से लगाना पड़े, जल भोजन की परवाह नहीं, करके व्रत जन्म बिताना पड़े, अभिलाषा नहीं कुछ भी सुख की, दुख नित्य नवीन उठाना पड़े, श्री राम के चरणों को छोड़ मुझे भूल से भी कहीं जाना न पड़े।
500 सालों की तपस्या के बाद हम हिंदुओं को गर्व है मोदी जी पर, जिन्होंने ये अच्छा काम किया है।
पूरा दुनिया देखता है इंडिया में क्या होता है, धर्म बचाता है।
यहाँ कोई क्रिश्चियन मुस्लिम कोई नहीं है, ये जो इंसान जो पैदा होता है वो हिंदू होता है।
Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, wanted to make the consecration of this temple a project of his political agenda, an agenda of triumphant Hindu nationalism. And just like that, his campaign for a third term was launched. On that day, the vision of founding fathers Gandhi and Nehru of a secular and plural state was buried for good. What kind of country is India becoming? A superpower that could shake up the current world order? Narendra Modi is a conqueror with great ambitions. But despite his constant exaltations about the greatness of his country as the mother of democracy, he is doing his utmost to undermine its very foundations. This is the story behind this major turning point. In less than a decade, 73-year-old Narendra Modi has become one of the most popular heads of state in the world. All his visits are planned and directed as part of his electoral strategy.
He would go outside India and say that he needs to be looked at not as what he is appearing to be, but as a representative of 1 billion plus people. He would come back to India and say that I have actually ensured greater respect for the Indian, and that is visible in between Mr. Modi and other global leaders. That is why all the hugs, all the heart, handshakes and all the great laughters. It is all a perfect performance to be able to convince people that here is our leader who is actually respected by everybody in the world.
It is about him, maybe even at the point where you forget that it is a relationship between two countries.
During his official visit to France, in front of an Indian diaspora fully committed to his cause, Narendra Modi presented his vision of a new, great, proud, and ambitious India, one that is ready to compete with the world's superpowers.
Quand il est en meeting, Narendra Modi, c'est une rockstar. C'est une bête de scène.
कौन कर रहा है? कौन कर रहा है? कौन दोनों देशों के संबंधों को नया आयाम दे रहा है?
Il épouse les émotions de son auditoire. C'est-à-dire qu'il y a une espèce d'échange. Et il faut voir, ça dure très longtemps, hein, les meetings durent des heures et des heures. Et il est en osmose, il est en fusion avec son public, qui va rire, crier, applaudir, et il leur parle.
आपका जवाब सही नहीं है. ये मोदी नहीं कर रहा है. ये सब आप लोग कर रहे हैं.
He is able to have the most brilliant ways of actually putting something across, giving to people what they think is really needed at that time.
आज कौन ये सुनकर गर्व से नहीं भर जाएगा कि भारत 10 साल में दुनिया की 10वीं से 5वीं बड़ी इकोनॉमी बन गया.
His vision of the world is that of a conquering India, a seemingly unstoppable behemoth on the move. Modi's 9 years in power have been marked by spectacular growth. India's GDP is now higher than that of France, and especially higher than that of its former colonizer, the United Kingdom. He promised a rosy future, the dawn of a new era and a new India. According to projections, India, the world's most populous and youngest country, will become the world's third largest economy behind the United States and China in just a few years' time.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
This, of course, is the biggest headline. India is going to the moon again.
If the mission is successful, India will be the 4th nation to enter the elite space club.
It was a historic day. With the Chandrayaan-3 rocket, the country achieved the feat of landing a space probe and the first robot on the moon.
We have our national pride placed on the moon.
India didn't choose the landing site at random. The robot landed on craters of the South Pole where ice and therefore water had been spotted. The idea was to set up a permanent presence and get in front of the other world superpowers. A clear strategy for conquest.
Everybody were talking about the successful moon mission across the globe, and that gave a new image for India that we are able to deal with such complex missions technologically.
The rockets and launchers are designed here in these ultra-modern hangars. According to this young engineer, the prospects are immense. 30,000 satellites are to be launched in the next 10 years.
Indian space program started in 1960s, very early compared to many countries, and we have been very successful. We have launched a moon mission, Mars mission, and also a mission to the sun recently. However, space was only in the domain of government until 2020, when the policy opened up to the private players. That's when the ecosystem is there, the suppliers are there, the talent is there, the infrastructure is there, launch pads are there, etc., are there. So all the infrastructure, everything, all the ingredients required to build a very healthy business, space business from India now exists, including the policy.
The space race is the latest geopolitical game, and the prize is a technological lead and control over new resources.
The government wants India to be one of the global space powers because space is very strategic to the country. Very few countries were able to achieve such a great feat, and very small team, based in Hyderabad in India, were able to pull it off in a very record time. In fact, from design to launch, it just took us 2 years to do the launch. So that shows, in a way, the potential of India as well. 1.5 million engineering graduates come out of India every year, which is one of the largest in the world. So we have that kind of talent pool also available, which, waiting to get trained into this high-tech industry.
India's economic conquest has only just begun. In the space of 2 decades, cities have been transformed and the country's image has been changed. And it all started here, in Gujarat state. This is where Narendra Modi began his political career. He was born and grew up here. He transformed it into the showcase of a shining India. The economic capital Ahmedabad has become the symbol of his ambitions. These riverbanks had been neglected, and Modi wanted to breathe new life into them. And this is the man who succeeded in doing it. Bimal Patel, the architect of this new India.
Took 6 years to just get the project in place. Now, luckily for us, the present Prime Minister became the Chief Minister of Gujarat at that time. And projects like this need a strong political will. This is the kind of things that were done in Europe and America perhaps 100 years ago.
In his workshop, we can see how present-day India is already being shaped into India of the future. Benares, Bombay, Delhi, all of these achievements have made him a celebrity throughout the country. Recently, at the request of the government, he redesigned the heart of political power in order to erase the colonial image of the Indian capital. A new parliament was designed and the residence of the Prime Minister was redesigned.
I'm really happy to be part that I persevered and worked on it because it has helped, yes, in some sense, define a new spirit for the country, which for me the most important aspect of that spirit is a confidence that we can tackle our problems. We can take a position, be respected in the world because we are able to solve our problems is, I think, the most important thing. Most important transformation over the last 10 or 15 years, 20 years.
Mr. Modi visited China as the Chief Minister of Gujarat, and he was greatly impressed with the Chinese political system of actually ensuring that things can be done by the government without any kind of opposition from the people. I've always believed that Mr. Modi has not been really very deeply committed to the idea of practicing democracy. That is why he tried to replicate the Chinese model, which is essentially urban-centric.
As soon as he was elected head of Gujarat, Narendra Modi started to focus on huge development projects. He launched an annual forum to which the business community was invited. He created special economic zones, expropriated farmers, offered land and favorable tax conditions. He attracted foreign investors and, above all, India's major industrial families, who in return helped him finance his election campaigns.
What is the meaning of this slogan? Millions of Indians are chanting, Modi hai to mumkin hai. It means India's Prime Minister makes the impossible possible with his vision, determination, and execution.
The man who has just spoken is Mukesh Ambani. Today, he's one of the country's wealthiest men. He has experienced a meteoric rise in Modi's footsteps. Just like Gautam Adani, who is at the head of one of the most powerful business conglomerates. It's a power strategy built on colluding capitalism.
If you look at the development and the increase of resources of select industrial houses and their leaders between 2014 and 2024, you will find once again a lot of disparity, that some people have grown much more dramatically than the others. The accusation remains that he has his preferred corporate houses.
Despite his controversial connections, his image and story were established as that of a modest child conquering power. Bollywood has produced a biopic to his glory.
On sait très peu de choses du Modi du Gujarat, de la jeunesse gujarati. Il y a une légende qui s'est construite, le chaiwala, le porteur de thé, qui servait les clients sur le quai de la gare de sa petite ville où son père avait une échoppe. Bon. On sait aussi que, c'est la légende toujours, ils se baignaient avec les crocodiles dans le lac de leur village.
In the evening, when they were returning from the lake, Narendra decided to take the crocodile home with him. Look, Ba, what I found. Oh no, where did you find it? You cannot separate a baby from his mother. What if someone separated you from me? Wouldn't you be sad too?
Ça, c'est la légende qui commence dès les années 2000. Hein. En 2007, la campagne électorale au Gujarat, elle est fondée sur cette idée que là, on a affaire à un homme exceptionnel, dont l'enfance a été exceptionnelle, et qui vient de la plèbe, et qui s'est élevé tout seul à la force du poignet.
When he stood for election for the first time, the country was emerging from 10 years of rule by the Congress Party, the incumbent party since independence, a party gradually overtaken by corruption scandals.
Because there are too many scandals. There was also this report that nothing was being decided because the coalition had become very, unmanageable. All India needed at that time in 2013 was somebody who could present oneself, himself or herself, as the person who can be the alternative of the Congress party. And that is what Mr. Modi was successful in doing.
Shri Narendra Damodar Das Modi.
His leadership of Gujarat became a key element in his strategy for gaining power. He promised to put an end to corruption and highlighted his economic feats and humble origins.
Modi the Chaiwala became a recurring theme of the Modi marketing campaign. After the Congress leader Manishankar Iyer made a derogatory statement that look at what has happened to the country, even a tea seller can become the Prime Minister of the country. So it was in reaction to that if not a tea maker, who can actually represent the ordinary common man in this country?
Along with the members of his party, the BJP, or Hindu Nationalist Party, he promised a shining India. He started a great populist movement that turned into a cult of personality. Surrounded by American communications advisors, he put on a show, cultivating the image of a man of action as fiery as he is uncompromising, straightforward, humble, and pious, a protective father and lover of the sacred cows. He started a radio program and a YouTube channel. More than 200 million people follow him on his social media. He floods the country with his videos. In them, he poses with the great and the good of the world. He is the one who shakes their hand as they come to see him, as shown here at the last G20 summit.
India has a foreign policy that represents India. And I say this because ever since independence, India has followed a foreign policy that is also a popular foreign policy. Non-alignment, for example, is an idea that Indians have warmed to always. The idea that India does not stand with any big power.
Par exemple, le conflit russo-ukrainien. Les Occidentaux ont appliqué un régime des sanctions auquel l'Inde s'est refusée de se soumettre. Parce qu'elle a besoin d'acheter du pétrole à la Russie, parce que la Russie, c'est son premier fournisseur d'armes, donc elle a besoin de trucs. Donc elle a mis au pas les Occidentaux. Au départ, les Occidentaux avaient haussé le ton en disant l'Inde ne peut pas faire ça, etc. Qu'est-ce qui s'est passé? Les Occidentaux ont parfaitement accepté que l'Inde fasse un pas de côté et fasse surtout ce qu'elle veut.
Other parts of India's foreign policy have really depended on this idea that India stays independent, that it is not going to be pushed around by other countries or larger countries into just following blindly.
Narendra Modi showed the G20 leaders his shining India. They did not see India stuck in the shadows, a country fighting and struggling to survive.
When Mr. Modi was first campaigning to be Prime Minister in 2014, he made various promises, including something for aspirational India, that there would be jobs for all the youth. There would be doubling of farmers' income in 5 years. And there would be a whole range of other things. The slogan then was "Achhe din aayenge," the good times are coming. Clearly, that didn't really pan out. The goal of jobs for everyone now, we are told that, it's really that the youth are going to find their own jobs. They're going to do startups. So the goalposts keep changing. This is the latest goalpost, and it is the illusion that we will become a developed country very quickly under this government.
One statistic could thwart Narendra Modi's plans. His country has officially become the most populous in the world, ahead of China, with 1.5 billion inhabitants. This fact is an advantage, a strength, but it also poses an issue. How do you create enough jobs to employ the million graduates entering the labor market every month? India is growing, but not fast enough, and certainly not as fast as its population.
That's the biggest challenge of all. Because, you have a young population, more and more of them are more educated, we have lots more, tens of millions more in tertiary education, and we simply don't have the jobs. The economy is not creating jobs for them.
One figure sums up the potentially explosive situation. 45% of young people are now unemployed. Many turn to the civil service entrance examinations. These are highly selective examinations, millions of candidates for a few thousand positions. The lecture theaters in Patna, the capital of the Bihar state in the northeast of the country, are overflowing. The students therefore crowd the banks of the Ganges to take the examination.
बहुत जगह से बच्चे यहाँ पे आकर के तैयारी करते हैं, क्योंकि हम सब चाहते हैं, सभी बच्चे चाहते हैं कि गवर्नमेंट जॉब है एक सेफ लाइफ है, अगर उसमें किसी का रिजल्ट हो जाए तो ज़िंदगी बन जाती है.
25-year-old Raja Kumar studies every night. He's been doing a series of odd jobs. For the last 6 years, he's been trying to get a government job without success.
यहाँ पे जो है कंपटीशन तो बहुत टफ हो ही गया है, वैकेंसी बहुत कम निकलती है. जो दरोगा का एग्ज़ाम होने वाला है बिहार स्टेट में, ठीक ना, तो इसके लिए जो सीट रिलीज़ की गई है गवर्नमेंट के द्वारा वो 1275 है, और कैंडिडेट लगभग कह सकते हैं हम 7 से 8 लाख कैंडिडेट इसमें अप्लाई किए हैं. बच्चों में बहुत ज़्यादा प्रेशर होता है. प्रेशर क्यों होता है कि कह सकते हैं हम कि 30 साल या 35 साल तक, ठीक है, वो जॉब का ही तैयारी करते रहते हैं, यानी कि आधा जो लाइफ है उसका पूरा आधा जिंदगी गुजर जाता है पढ़ने में.
2 years ago, the recruitment campaign for public jobs led to violent demonstrations. India's youth protested against the lack of transparency in the competition.
मेरी इकोनॉमिकल प्रॉब्लम यह है कि पापा जो है प्राइवेट टीचर हैं और बच्चों को ट्यूशन पढ़ाते हैं, होम ट्यूशन घर पे जा कर के। वहाँ से जो अर्निंग होती है वो 10,000 के आसपास होती है। अभी के समय में 10,000 में अपने बच्चे को पढ़ाना, पटना में रह करके अगर हम पढ़ रहे हैं तो यहाँ का खर्चा अराउंड 5,000 मंथली है। अब 5,000 रुपया यहाँ हमें देंगे पढ़ने के लिए, और घर का स्थिति, घर में यहाँ पटना में जो है एक मिडिल क्लास का जो कैंडिडेट है उसकी संख्या ज़्यादा होती है। काहे कि वो जो है ना ज़िंदगी को करीब से देखते हैं, किस तरीके से कोई भी चीज़ खरीदने के लिए 10 बार सोचते हैं। केला खाने का अगर मन कर रहा है तो वो खरीदेंगे नहीं, देख के रह जाएंगे। कभी कभी मैं भी डिमोटिवेट हो जाता हूँ कि भाई टाइम ज़्यादा हो रहा है, ज़्यादा एज हो रहा है, धीरे धीरे टाइम एक्सपेंड हो रहा है और अभी तक जॉब नहीं लग रहा है।
I think we first have to establish what we mean by development or being a developed country. And there are many different definitions. So, you can talk about per capita income, but of course what matters is really not just per capita, but how it's distributed. About 10-15% of the population is doing very well, unbelievably well. The rest of the population is struggling. If you cannot provide the basic needs for your own people, you are not an economic power.
India remains one of the most inegalitarian countries in the world. The gap between rich and poor is at an all-time high. 1% of the population holds 40% of the wealth. The current government does not recognize these figures, disputes them. It puts forward its own statistics. Because India must be seen as brilliant for all Indians.
I think the one thing that this government has been extraordinarily successful at is PR. I mean, the public relations machine is off the charts. And of course, the utter confidence of government spokespersons to just cherry pick data, to pick one particular number, and to suppress any data that they don't like.
Hiding the numbers is what they did in 2021. Like other countries, India was hit by the second wave of the COVID epidemic, and it was devastating.
La deuxième phase du Covid, c'est un drame humain épouvantable en Inde, et un drame humain que les autorités n'ont jamais voulu reconnaître.
Officially, everything was under control, but the country was burning bodies day and night. India sent its vaccines all over the world, but hid from its own population what was happening at home.
Les gens mouraient dans la rue. Les crématoriums tournaient 24 heures sur 24. Un jour, un matin, on s'est levé, il y avait de la poussière noire sur les balcons et tout ça. C'était la poussière du crématorium.
According to the WHO, the epidemic claimed 4,700,000 lives. The Indian government claims that figure is 10 times lower. Narendra Modi does not recognize foreign figures, and those who do will suffer the consequences.
यहाँ पहुँचने के बाद जो नज़ारा दिखा वो काफ़ी डरा देने वाला था, काफ़ी भयावह था। वास्तव में जो तस्वीर थी वो इसी स्थान की थी और उस तस्वीर में एक तरफ से जितनी दूर आप देख सकते हैं गंगा की जो पेटी है, जो गंगा का जो मैदानी क्षेत्र है उसमें लाशें दिख रही थी।
Amrish Shukla, working for the Dainik Bhaskar newspaper, one of the most widely read in the country, was one of 30 reporters sent to investigate. Along a route covering more than 1,000 kilometers, he and his colleagues have counted more than 2,000 corpses, far more than the official numbers. The sacred Ganges became a graveyard. Images of them went viral.
उस समय लॉकडाउन लगा हुआ था, जो आम आदमी था वो निकल नहीं पाता था बहुत सारी सूचनाएं थी जो सरकार भी कहीं ना कहीं छुपा रही थी। जो सच्चाई थी, जो शवों के दाह की संख्या थी, जो मरने वालों की संख्या थी, वो पता नहीं चल पाती थी कितने लोग मर रहे हैं।
At the same time, as if by coincidence, the editorial offices of his newspaper were raided by the Indian police and tax authorities. These raids and attempts at intimidation were aimed at anyone who questioned the government's management of the pandemic.
Mr. Modi has never thought very highly of the media, of journalists. After he became Prime Minister, Mr. Modi first of all stopped taking journalists on foreign tours. So essentially what comes across is that somebody out here is a leader who does not facilitate the media to do its work.
Since he came to power, the news channels started to comply, out of fear of reprisals and to avoid being subjected to pressure from the government. Some have even become outlets for Hindu nationalism. This is the new TV star, Suresh Chavanki, director of the Sudarshan news channel, and star presenter of its flagship program, Bol Bindas, Just Say It. His on-air discourse is more than free. It's a concentrated dose of hatred. He is outspoken and paranoid. According to him, Muslims have a plan to dominate, replace, and murder the country's Hindu majority.
अब हिंदू है, इसलिए आपके बारात में दूल्हा घोड़े पर बैठ नहीं पाएगा। अगर दूल्हा बारात का घोड़े पर बैठकर बारात निकली तो मुसलमान गुंडे उसमें घुसकर नाचेंगे, आपके मेहमान लड़कियों के साथ, बेटियों के साथ जाति करेंगे।
अमृत के बीच का अंतर। हाँ ठीक है, चलो।
विचार एक चिंगारी की तरह होता है, उसको जरूर नहीं कि आप बड़े स्वरूप में ही आए। हमारा काम भारत के मीडिया को परावर्तित करना था। जिस देश में स्क्रीन के ऊपर हिंदू के पक्ष में बोलना अपराध माना जाता था, आज बाकी चैनलों को भी हमारे पैटर्न पर आना पड़ रहा है, भले उनकी इच्छा हो ना या ना हो। तकनीक वाइज भरपूर फर्क पड़ा है। पहले सोशल मीडिया नहीं था, इसलिए इन लोगों का झूठ एक्सपोज करने के लिए हमारे ऊपर ज़्यादा लोड पड़ता था, फिर भी हम करते थे। लेकिन अब हमारे साथ खड़े होने वाला सोशल मीडिया भी हो गया, ये एक असर पड़ा है।
Not just the news channels, but also Bollywood and the cinema. Patriotism is becoming the new dominant ideology, and propaganda is everywhere. A new musical trend has even emerged, Hindu pop.
विदेशी मीडिया का प्रभाव भारत में ज़्यादा था। विदेशी निवेश होना, वो विदेशी चैनलों का यहाँ भरमार होना, और पश्चिम जो करता है वही सही है। वेस्टर्न नैरेटिव को भारत में लादने का काम ज़्यादा होता था। अब क्योंकि मैं केवल उसका क्रेडिट सरकार को ही नहीं दूंगा, मैं समाज को ज़्यादा क्रेडिट दूंगा कि समाज के अंदर इतिहास के प्रति, अपने पूर्वजों के प्रति जो स्वाभिमान जागृत हो रहा है, अपने अतीत के प्रति गौरव निर्माण हो रहा है, उस कारण भी उसका असर मीडिया पर पड़ता है। सारे लोग मर्जी से कर रहे होंगे ऐसा नहीं है, लेकिन उनके लिए मजबूरी की स्थिति निर्माण करना भी तो एक हमारे विचार के लिए काम करने वाले लोगों के लिए विजय की बात है।
In today's India, disinformation on television and on social media is spreading like wildfire. But denouncing it is an act that can lead to imprisonment.
Present situation in India is very scary. It is scary because not many people are noticing it outside India. For me, the primary thought is one of being scared for people I know. I know people personally who are in jail. The co-founder of Alt News, Zubair, who's not just my colleague but is an extremely close friend, he spent 23 days in jail. They used the criminal investigation system to falsely accuse him of something that he hadn't done and jail him for 23 days to send a message that, look, this is what we can do.
The noose is tightening around Pratik and the 15 people who work for his website that tracks down digital disinformation. In a country where more than 800 million people own a telephone, disinformation is a scourge and a new weapon of power. The slightest piece of fake news spreads across the entire country.
This is an example from COVID. This is April 2020, and this image is of Muslims from India doing namaz on the terraces while a lockdown is going on. And what we had actually found was that this is actually from Dubai. It has got nothing to do with India. And many people have shared this across social media. Someone else is saying in Hindi, कि मजहब की वफादारी हो सकती है, परंतु क्या यह वतन से गद्दारी नहीं?
During the last elections in 2019, several tens of thousands of accounts and discussion groups directly linked to political parties had been created.
Who's behind that? That's a tricky question. One can say largely who's behind. It is in the day and age of WhatsApp, where things are encrypted end to end, it is almost impossible to accurately recognize who's putting out misinformation. But one can see who's sharing misinformation. In India, the maximum share comes from the right-wing party and its supporters, BJP. There was never a thought that we are going to stop because we are being targeted. And we've been targeted in other ways. So we know that this is what means when you question the people in power during these times in India. So no, that is definitely not a reason to stop.
Hindu nationalists are transforming the country. They have been preparing for a long time. There's a side of India you don't know and will probably never experience. It's the India in which Narendra Modi grew up. The India that made him the politician he is today. This footage is rare. This is an RSS rally, a radical Hindu organization founded in 1925, originally intended to fight against British colonialism and Muslim separatism. It is a powerful paramilitary group with hundreds of thousands of members throughout the country. RSS members are radical Hindus, supremacists, xenophobes, who fight for a single religious identity, one race and one Hindu nation.
हम क्या खड़ा करना चाहते हैं? हम बिल्कुल यही खड़ा करना चाहते हैं। हम देश के अधिकतर लोगों में नागरिक गुण विकसित करना चाहते हैं, राष्ट्रभक्ति के तत्व विकसित करना चाहते हैं, उन्हें संस्कृतनिष्ठ बनाना चाहते हैं, उन्हें देश प्रेमी बनाना चाहते हैं। हम सारे देश को बना लेंगे क्या? ऐसा भी नहीं है। बिल्कुल गलतफहमी हमें नहीं है। हम तो कहते हैं कि 3% लोग केवल हमारे इस विचार में इस तरह लाइनों में बैठना शुरू कर दें, हम सारे देश का चित्र बदल देंगे। क्या है?
Au RSS, vous apprenez toujours la même chose. Je ne connais aucune autre organisation de ce style qui ait si peu changé en un siècle. C'est la même façon de fonctionner depuis 1925. C'est-à-dire que vous avez une discipline qui est d'une rigueur quasi militaire. Hein. D'ailleurs, l'uniforme que revêtent les membres du RSS, c'est celui de la police britannique de l'époque coloniale. Ça, c'est sur la forme. Sur le fond, il apprend l'idéologie nationaliste hindoue. Alors, ça veut dire quoi? Ça veut dire d'abord des séances de baudic, de formation idéologique, où l'histoire est revisitée. Alors, c'est une histoire qui emprunte à la mythologie. Entre mythologie hindoue et histoire, on ne fait plus la différence. Les grands dieux sont des héros nationaux. Ram, Krishna, pour ne prendre que deux noms. RSS, c'est aussi le creuset d'une xénophobie explicite. Il n'y a pas de musulmans, il n'y a pas de minorité. On est entre hindous.
They also are of the opinion that everybody who is a citizen of India is a Hindu, regardless of their personal faith. They have this very difficult to explain or understand argument that people can be a Muslim, people can be Christians, but they are all Hindus. Because Hinduism is not a religion. It is a way of life.
The RSS presents itself as a big family. It oversees hundreds of social organizations. This is one of their girls-only schools. They belong to the middle class and come here to be educated as Hindu maids before being married. The RSS members come here regularly to give classes. Here's what they hear every day.
बोलो भाई, किसी हिंदू को मुसलमान के साथ शादी करना या ईसाई के साथ शादी करना ठीक है, गलत है? अगर जानवर खत्म हो जाएं, जानवरों का मांस ना मिले, सब्जी ना मिले, रोटी ना हो, तो इस्लाम धर्म के अंदर महिला को भी काट करके खाना धर्म में माना जाता है। हमारे धर्म में ऐसा है क्या? हमारे धर्म में ऐसा नहीं है। हमारा धर्म महान है। जोर से बोलो, जय श्री राम, जय श्री राम।
Schools like this exist all over the country. They're ideological laboratories and factories for hatred. A century ago, the founders of the RSS were already dreaming of an India free of foreigners, British colonizers, and Muslim separatists. Gandhi's assassin in 1948 came from the RSS. The advocate of nonviolence and the man behind India's independence was accused of having brought about its partition, offering Muslims the country of Pakistan. He is seen as guilty of having set up secularism as a model. Most of the members of the BJP trained with the RSS. Narendra Modi joined at the age of 8.
Jamais encore, à la tête du gouvernement de l'Inde, nous n'avions vu quelqu'un qui était à ce point influencé, le mot est faible, par l'idéologie nationaliste hindoue. Il est le premier à dire « je suis nationaliste hindou ».
Mr. Modi is completely, his indoctrination which happened in the early years, it has a, impression on his psyche completely. He thinks like an RSS person. Modi became a Swayamsevak in the RSS in the early 1970s. He remained with the RSS till about the mid-1980s, after which he was deputed to go to the BJP.
His political career was marked by controversy from the beginning. In 2002, riots broke out in the Gujarat state in the northwest of the country. The Muslim population was targeted by radical Hindus. Entire districts were set on fire. The attacks, which lasted 3 days, were some of the deadliest since the country's independence. Nearly 2,000 people were killed. The reason behind it was a fire on a train carrying Hindu pilgrims. According to investigators, it was an accident. However, the Muslims were soon accused and the streets went up in flames. At the time, the region was ruled by Narendra Modi. He was accused of letting the rioters run wild.
Excellent work they have done. Within 72 hours, we were able to control such a violence.
More than 500 people dead, most of them innocent civilians, and you're calling this excellent work?
I'm not happy what happened, but what we have done, I'm happy.
Europe, England, and the United States sanctioned him and banned him from traveling to their countries, the same countries that are now trying to get him back. A few months later, he was triumphantly re-elected, a victory that symbolized the hold of Hindu nationalism. It was the first turning point. Almost 20 years later, history is repeating itself. In New Delhi, the northern districts of the capital have gone up in flames. For 3 days, these predominantly Muslim neighborhoods became the target of radical Hindu militias. They spread terror, and once again the police were accused of letting it happen. The death toll was high, 53 dead and hundreds injured.
For 3 days it was mayhem. For 3 days this unabashed attack on the Muslims of the area happened. And across those sites there were huge violence. First, those protest sites were set on fire. The library that was set up in the Mustafabad protest site was set on fire. Books were burned, those protest sites were burned. And then there were complete attack on that entire area. 7 mosques were gutted. In 2 of the mosques, people climbed up and tied the saffron flag on top of a mosque. There were Facebook lives of people giving call for riots, giving call for genocides, like Musalmanon ko ekdam khatam kar do yahan ke Musalmanon ko. And there were visuals of people pelting stones and pelting bombs and the police standing right beside them.
अब तो डर ऐसा है कि क्या नाम इसका शायद क्या नाम कब मैं यहाँ रह भी ना पाऊँ शायद मैं क्या नाम इसका इंडिया छोड़ के आउट ऑफ इंडिया भी जा सकता हूँ मैं सब कुछ बेच किया
लेकिन यहाँ पे इस तरह का दंगा हमने पहली बार देखा जो हिंदू यहाँ पे रहते हैं कभी मतलब आपस में सब लोगों का मिलना जुलना बोलचाल सब कुछ है सोच भी नहीं सकते थे कि एक दिन ऐसा आएगा कि अपना ही घर छोड़ के इंसान निकलेगा यहाँ से तो
मोदी गवर्नमेंट इंडिया में आई है हर आदमी के दिमाग में जहर भर दिया गया है सच में लोग एक दूसरे की जान लेने पर उतावले हो रहे थे मैं सच बताऊं आपको कि ऐसा माहौल हिंदुस्तान में किसी ने अब तक नहीं देखा था सच में
The Prime Minister waited 2 days before reacting. With a simple tweet, he called for peace and harmony. None of those who had incited the violence were convicted. A few weeks earlier, his government had passed a law that set the whole country ablaze. A controversial law on nationality. All refugees settled on Indian soil are given the opportunity to obtain Indian citizenship. All except Muslims.
मेरी सरकार का एक ही धर्म है इंडिया फर्स्ट मेरी सरकार का एक ही धर्म है भारत का संविधान मेरी सरकार का एक ही धर्म ग्रंथ है भारत का संविधान मेरी सरकार की एक ही भक्ति है भारत भक्ति
This is for the first time citizenship in any form was going to be given to people on the basis of religion and with a clear omission of one major religion where, I mean, a lot of citizens across in our neighboring countries are also Muslims. Why this act actually led into this kind of protest? This is the first time a discrimination on the basis of religion was introduced in determining citizenship. Now, that's a very crucial first step towards religious apartheid. And we all know the anti-Muslim nature of this government so far. It's not a secret or anything. So therefore it led into huge protest, because it seemed like the final liquidation of the constitution and complete destruction of the secular fabric of India would be officially initiated. And that is what we were not ready to accept.
The Citizenship Act provoked the biggest protest movement the country has seen since Narendra Modi came to power. 3 months of protests, millions of Indians took to the streets to defend secularism. The government remained adamant. Hundreds were arrested, including a Muslim student leader, Umar Khalid. He is still in prison today.
He is very much a dissenting voice in this country, which is not something that is looked good anymore. And so I have known Umar for a long time, when he was finishing his graduation, 2008. I think the people who right now stand in defense of democracy, in defense of constitutions, they are the real patriots, because they genuinely love the country. And definitely Umar is one of them.
He has been in prison for 4 years now. Like Umar Khalid, dozens of students, intellectuals, and artists are currently imprisoned, suspected of wanting to undermine the government. Narendra Modi invokes an anti-terrorism law. All are awaiting trial. In the weeks following the riots, Muslim families who had lost everything were displaced. They were grouped together in districts further north in the capital. The community pulled together. A school was set up to take in those who had lost a parent in the riots.
For the last 10 years have passed under this government, and there are people who have become adults, young adults, who have not seen the democracy before. So we always keep telling them that this is not what India was always about. You know, there had been spaces of dissent. Their hate-mongering was not always so brazen. There were communities peacefully coexisting before that. And we have to thrive for that, and we have to fight back for that. We have to win back our country.
The Western countries don't care about human rights in other places. I think that's evident. India provides a very useful ally for the Western powers. And unfortunately, therefore, they will allow the Indian government to do whatever it wants to its own people.
India's young democracy and the long-standing model of pluralism is now in jeopardy. If Narendra Modi continues to promote his nationalist project, his dream of a Hindu nation may well take shape. In the Ayodhya temple, he bowed down before Ram, the conquering lord of the Hindus. A sign of allegiance and a premonition of what awaits the country in the years to come.